Hey, so if you're thinking about joining the Passport Bro movement, this video's for you. Do it. The bottom line is do it. I went to the Philippines in February of this year and spent 2 weeks there. I met somebody just amazing who has really changed my life for the better. I went back just recently. I've been home now for 5 days. Um, we're engaged now. We have plans to get married and for her to move here to the United States. Um, if you have concerns about like whether it's safe or what the results are going to be like, for me it was quite easy. I jumped on Tinder. I set my location to the Philippines, and I started swiping on girls that I thought were just absolutely gorgeous. If you do that, I think that you will be pretty amazed in the response you get. I had made quite a few matches with girls that were, like I said, just absolutely gorgeous. Before I went, I started chatting a few girls about a week before I actually jumped on the plane and went over there. I'd set up a couple of dates, although fortunately for me, the first date I went on with my current fiance turned out to be just phenomenal. We hit it off, had a really strong connection, and so I didn't go on any other dates. I decided to solely pursue her and be exclusive with her, and it's worked out really well for me. Um, what else? Maybe you're afraid. Maybe you think that it's not safe over there. Well, when I went first, I spent my time in Cebu. I also hopped on a ferry and went and checked out Dumaguete, and I went to one other city, Taglibaran. I'm probably horribly pronouncing that, but anyways, yeah, I went and checked out a few cities, took a ferry to a few different islands, and I never felt unsafe at all. The first couple of days I spent just walking around in Cebu by myself. I probably covered, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 miles on foot. But that's who I am. I wanted to explore and just see what was out there and what was going on, and I never felt unsafe at all. There was one point where I was walking down kind of a dirt path along one of the rivers, and a couple of the local guys asked me where I was going and what I was doing, and I just straight up told them, I was like, I have no idea, I'm exploring. And they told me, it's like, you don't want to go explore back there, maybe go back to the main roads. So I took their advice. I didn't see a need to push the envelope and get myself in any trouble, so I went back to some of the main roads and just continued my journey walking around. um, I was mindful about it. I didn't act like an idiot while I was there. I wasn't stumbling home drunk from the bars at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was just, be mindful. If you're going to go to a foreign country where you don't know anybody, don't act a fool. Also, be polite, be respectful. If you want to go over there and just hook up with a bunch of chicks and you don't have any intent to find love or be exclusive or have a genuine relationship, then I would encourage you to probably just stick to the bar girls or, the prostitution scene. It's not for me. That's not my lifestyle, but I understand that is what some guys want to do. But if you are looking for love and a genuine connection and a good relationship with a wonderful, beautiful, loving, kind, sweet woman, then I think the Philippines has a lot to offer you. My flight wasn't that bad. The first time I went, it was $1,100 round trip. I live in Idaho. Second time, it was a little bit less. I think I paid like $10.50. But you're gonna pay roughly, 1,000 to maybe 1,300, depending on how far you plan ahead, what time of year you're going. It can get more expensive, but if you plan and schedule this, and you're not just hopping on a jet tomorrow, then you can probably get a ticket for around that price. The hotels are also pretty affordable. When I just went recently, we went to Boracay, which is really a kind of resort island. Beautiful, beautiful place. I highly recommend going. That was epic. But it's like all white sand beaches, resort hotels, and the 5-star hotel I stayed in, which was absolutely amazing, was $100 a night. So that's a fancy hotel. The first time I went, I booked a couple of hotels that were like 20, $25 a night and still pretty decent. One I stayed at didn't have hot water. I didn't pay attention and read through the description and find out if it did or not, because of the price tag and the accommodations, it looked pretty nice, so I just assumed it would have hot water. It didn't. That also turned out not to be a big deal. The cold water there isn't like the cold water here. The cold water there is, I'm guessing, I didn't take a thermometer or measure it, but, maybe 75 degrees is cold water there. So even taking a cold shower when it's 85 degrees outside, it didn't feel bad. I wasn't bummed out that the shower was cold. It's a little chilly when you first step into it, but your body gets used to the temperature really quick, and it wasn't that bad taking cold showers in that hotel. The food is quite different. I'm not going to sing praises about Filipino food. I did try sisig last time I was there. That was pretty good. I ate the balut, the duck egg with the ground chicken in it. That also isn't that bad at all. Once you get past the mental part of it, it tastes like a hard-boiled egg. Maybe a little bit of a meaty flavor, but nothing crazy. I forget the local name, but the chicken intestines that are skewered and barbecued, that was also pretty good, not bad at all. But the food it's not amazing. It's not like, I don't know, everything's just like, oh my God. Like when I went to Mexico, the food was pretty good. I really enjoy Mexican food though. What else? Yeah, it's pretty easy to meet girls if you're willing to jump on a dating app and, make a few matches and start a few conversations. In my experience, don't be a pervert. I think that the girls there get pretty turned off pretty quick if you start talking about sex right away. Maybe, try to ask them about their family, show some interest in their lives, what they do, I don't know, their education, what they like to do for fun. There's a lot of talk out there that, if a girl likes to go to a club and dance, that she's not a good girl. I haven't found that to be true. Sure, you are going to find some girls that lean more on the party girl side at clubs and bars. But just because somebody likes to go out and dance and have a good time doesn't necessarily mean that they're a prostitute or that, they're an alcoholic or that they don't have any good personality traits. What else? Really, I would just say, get your feet wet. Buy your plane ticket, take a couple weeks off of work, go spend some time on the ground. It's an absolutely wonderful place to be. The poverty takes a second to get used to. When I first arrived there for like the first couple days, I just wanted to give away everything I own. You see these people that are really struggling, like proper poverty, not like, not even like the homeless people you see in America where, there's a lot of resources for homeless in America where they can still, get fed every day, and there's homeless shelters. There's not these resources over in the Philippines. So you see people that are really, really, really impoverished. And I'm talking, living on, less than $1 a day, probably. Which brings up another good point. Your money goes a long ways there. The exchange rate when I was there just now was 58 to 1. So $1 got me 58 Filipino pesos. It's not hard to find a meal there for a few hundred pesos. But you can also go nice places. I went to one dinner with, what were there? 4 of us and a child, and we spent like 5,000 pesos, like $100. But a nice dinner at a nice restaurant for 4 people in the States is going to be a lot more than $100. So still extremely affordable. I had a really good time. The weather's nice. It's like 90 during the day, 75 at night. Even when it rains outside, it's a warm rain, so it's not miserable. You don't hate it. There are just an absurd amount of really, really gorgeous women that are probably willing to take a chance and meet you and try to date you and get to know you. So, yeah, again, if you're thinking about this, especially with the 4B movement going on in the United States right now, with women just saying that they're going to write off men completely and they don't want to have anything to do with us, there's really no reason not to go, guys. Like I said, be mindful, don't put yourself in dangerous situations, and you're probably not going to feel danger at all. Be polite, be respectful, don't piss off the locals, and you'll probably have a really good time. Everybody that I've met in the Philippines has been really, really kind. They're always willing to chat with you and share a beer with you, and you don't get any of that hostile energy like you do, and especially in the big cities in America. Everybody is polite. Everybody's willing to say hi. It's not awkward to strike up a conversation with somebody and just, shoot the shit for a minute on the street. That's perfectly normal, and people are willing to engage you and talk to you about that stuff. The cab drivers were super cool and giving me pointers on, how to talk to girls and where to meet girls and stuff like that. Although really, like I said, I'd set up one date and met an amazing girl who I'm now engaged to, and so I didn't really play the game a whole lot. I feel pretty fortunate that I got to meet somebody that I really had a strong connection with immediately. Yeah, get your passport, buy your ticket, book a hotel. And then, yeah, I think that meeting girls on dating apps is probably not a bad way to start. You'll find that Filipinas are quite shy in nature. So if you're thinking that you're going to go over there and like go to the malls and just walk up to girls and say hi and I think you're pretty, would you like to go out? That may not go so well. They're pretty shy, and that might be a little bit awkward for them, that you're being a little bit too forward and too direct. Whereas if you're on a dating app, you already know there's mutual interest. So it's not so awkward to say like, hey, would you like to go grab lunch together? Or, would you like to go out to coffee? And another wonderful thing is you don't feel, or you shouldn't feel, the pressure that you may feel with dating in Western countries. Like when you're taking a girl out in the West, there's a lot of social pressure that, it has to be like some fancy date. You got to spend a lot of money. It's just not the same mentality there. A girl's probably going to be fine if you take her to Jollibee's. I mean, I would encourage you to have a little more class than that. Maybe, try to take her somewhere that's not, a national fast food chain, but you do you. I don't think she's going to be offended if you do that. She might even think that it's cool that you want to try out their culture and their foods a little bit, like if you were to put it to her like, hey, I've heard a lot about Jollibee's. I've never had it. Like, are you cool if we go try that? It's something that I'd like to try out. She's probably going to be perfectly okay with it and kind of excited to show you something that you haven't seen before and experience it with you. So you don't really have to worry about finding the nicest restaurant in town and taking her to a really nice place. One thing, though, that I had to learn on my second trip, and something that my Filipina has explained to me over time, is they do appreciate well-dressed men. My first time I was over there, I went for 2 weeks and I took a backpack with 5 changes of clothes, and I just used the hotel laundry service to wash my clothes and stay clean. But I went with t-shirts and shorts, basically. That was it. I didn't have any slacks, dress shoes, button-down shirts, anything like that. Just t-shirts and shorts. I figured it's a tropical climate. I wanted to be comfortable. So that made sense to me. But I've since learned that if you really want to impress a Filipina, dress nice. Be willing to deal with, being a little bit warm, wearing a long sleeve button down shirt with slacks and some dress shoes. That really gets them a lot. They do appreciate a well-dressed man that looks nice. So yeah, bring some nice clothes. Hygiene is a big thing over there. I'm a shower every day kind of guy. My Filipina tells me I need to shower twice a day. So they're not down with like the laid back shower every other day. No, like be clean, brush your teeth, maybe use some cologne, definitely wear deodorant. They're not laid back with the dirty, stinky man. Be clean, be on your game with your hygiene. What else could I tell you guys about? Ask about her family. Ask about her life. Don't be super self-centered. Don't try to flash your money around a bunch and impress them with money. They know that you have money. Obviously, if you can afford to travel there, you have more than they do, probably. Don't get me wrong. There are wealthy Filipinos, but the mass majority are not. So it's arrogant and impolite and kind of a turnoff if you're trying to impress them with money. You know, bring her flowers, by the way. If you set up a date with a girl and you want to make a good first impression, find somewhere that you can stop and buy a small bouquet of roses. I mean, it's going to cost you a few dollars over there. It's not expensive, but it's a big gesture. And it seems to me that that's not really the culture of the Filipino man over there to bring flowers to a girl and treat them well. Not to shit on the Filipinos at all. Excuse me, I'm getting over a bit of a cold. But the Filipino dating is a little bit different. They believe in courting a girl for a long time, which means like kind of just becoming her friend and getting to know her before they actually ask them out on a date or ask them to be their girlfriend and make it official. Which is also a big thing that I had to learn the hard way, is that just because you took a girl on 4 or 5 dates, or just because she has spent the night at your hotel with you a few times, doesn't mean you're dating. Until you ask her to be your girlfriend, point blank, period, she's probably not going to believe that she is your girlfriend. I kind of made the assumption after I had spent so much time, maybe 10 days with the girl that I met over there. We were in a comedy club, and one of the comedians asked, you know, like, how long have you guys been dating? And I was like, oh, like 10 days. And she was surprised by that. She didn't realize that we were dating or a thing, which to me, I assumed that we'd spent that much time together. We'd gone places. We'd been staying together, that we were a couple at that point. But it's different for them. You need to expressly ask and state that those are your intentions. That's your desire. Yeah. So yeah, I guess go, bring nice clothes, be polite, show interest in her life. Don't flash your money around. Don't try to drown her in gifts. Bring flowers on the first date. Have a good time. Just enjoy yourself. Be yourself. It's very much the same as Western connections go. Like, if you have a connection with a girl, you're gonna know it. She's gonna show interest in you. She's gonna, give you the same signs that Western women will, with like, being a little bit physically touchy with you. Not necessarily like putting her hand inside your thigh or anything like that, but maybe she wants to hold your hand when you're walking down the street, or she's not shy if you want to give her a hug. Sex is a subject you're gonna have to figure out how to approach all on your own. It's different for everybody. You can't go into that with a cookie cutter, plan, thinking that this is how I'm gonna do step A, B, and C and get to D. People are people. It's gonna happen however it happens, or it's not gonna happen. But at the end of the day, the experience I've had has been super positive. My Filipina is amazing. She's beautiful, kind, sweet, generous, which blew me away. I didn't expect somebody that doesn't have a whole lot to be so giving and so generous with her friends and family, but she really, truly is. If she's got 10 pesos, she's down to give 5 to her sister. It's just, I guess, their culture. At least that's how it's been with my experience. And there seems to be a lot of really, really kind, sweet, beautiful, loving women over there that are very interested in dating foreigners. If, nothing against anybody that doesn't fit the mold I'm about to speak, but it seems that this is some of the desirable traits. If you're tall, if you're white, if you have a long pointy nose, this is a weird thing they're into. My Filipina can't get enough of my nose. I never thought a woman would find me attractive because of my nose, but they are into it, like, a lot. And the white thing too, like it's a weird thing over there. They find lighter skin to be more desirable within their own population. So, like, you know, Filipinas naturally have a darker skin complexion than white people do. So they want the lightest skin complexion they can have, or at least commonly. You know, obviously everybody's an individual, but in general, the lighter your skin tone, the more desirable you are. So they do just kind of have a desire towards white people. My Filipina even told me that when she saw me in person, my skin was much whiter than she thought it was from my photos, and she was more attracted to me after that. So yeah, if you're tall, which by the way, like 5'8" is tall there, 5'7" is tall there. I'm 6 foot, so I'm like a giant there. But yeah, if you're 5'8" in the U.S., nobody's calling you tall. Over there, you're tall. Yeah, they think you're a tall grown ass man, and they think that 5'8's good. So don't think that if you're 5'8" in the U.S., it doesn't translate. It's a different 5'8" over there. And because they are small, my Filipina's 4'11". She likes to say she's 5 foot, but she's not. Yeah, man, go buy the ticket. I use Tinder for my dating app. There's a lot of dating apps. I mean, as far as the internet goes, they're a modern country. They all have smartphones. They all have access to all the same dating apps and the same information that you have too. So, don't think that they can't get on Tinder or Bumble or, I don't know what else, Hinge. I don't know what all the apps are. I just use Tinder. And yeah, you will be amazed if you haven't already checked out the dating apps and put your location to the Philippines or Thailand or there's plenty of East Asia countries over there that are very similar as far as the dating scene goes. But yeah, man, if you don't have your passport, get it. It's easy. You go to the post office, take a couple pictures, pay a fine, and I think I got mine within like 30 days. I don't know, because I did it like 10 years ago when I went to Mexico. I can't remember, but anyways, the plane ticket's gonna be a grand 1,100. Hotels are cheap, food is cheap, transportation's cheap. You can catch flights, domestic flights inside the country. Like when I went back this time, flew into Manila. We took a bus out to her hometown a few hours away, spent a couple days there, got to know her friends and family. Then we took the bus back to Manila, and we flew from Manila to Boracay, which is like an hour flight. I think for both of us was $100 round trip. So it's not expensive to take domestic flights inside the Philippines. If you want to fly into Manila and then jump down to Cebu and then hop over to Boracay or whatever, these flights are going to be pretty affordable for you. So you can get around inside the country cheap. You can eat cheap. You can stay cheap. The women are phenomenal. They are sweet, kind, beautiful, amazing people. The locals are all super duper awesome as well. I understand, like way down in the southern islands, maybe there's a little bit of a resistance towards Western culture. So maybe steer clear of that. Just do research on when you're going. Like don't just go into some place completely blind. Do a little bit of research, find out, is there some sort of weird resistance going on to Western culture? Is that potentially an area where you might not be as safe as you are in some other spots? But also there's a lot of foreigners that are traveling in these areas as well. Like Manila is a city of like 15 million people or something like that for the whole area. Cebu is also pretty big, multi-millions, so you're not going into like, some tiny little, backwoods place where they don't have power or running water and stuff. Like it's modern cities with skyscrapers and, all the amenities that you're used to in the West. So, even when I went to her hometown, a city called Cabanatuan, population of, gosh, how big is Cabanatuan? I want to say like I think 100,000 at least, maybe more. So still a decent size, maybe it was 30,000. I can't remember. Still a decent sized city, has all the Western amenities. I was able to find a nice hotel there with, clean linens, comfortable beds, polite staff, good food in the restaurant, hot water, all the normal stuff. So yeah, do it, bro. There's no reason not to. You're wasting your own time. If you're considering doing this, just do it. All right. Good luck.